I'm 31 years old, and if there's one thing I've discovered the hard way, it's that you can give everything you've got to someone, even a whole family, and still be treated like a stranger at your own table. I believed that marriage was about making sacrifices, about being present, even when you had nothing left to contribute. But it turns out love isn't about shedding blood for someone who won't even put a bandage on you. My wife came from a family with multi-generational portraits, atop stone fireplaces, last names that opened the doors to country clubs. Her father, Gerald Byrne, never liked me. I wasn't from there. I was the young man who worked his way through school, grew up fixing bikes in a tiny town garage, and saw rust where he expected gold. Yet Talia picked me, even though he didn't see legacy, only debt, or at least, that's what I thought. Monica, her younger sister, had it all. Credit cards. Internships that turned into positions she didn't even need to earn. She was adored, honored, placed so high even gravity struggled to reach her. When Sarah, their cousin, wanted to attend law school, I stepped in, quietly, paid her tuition. When Gerald's trust fund said, "Not today." And I never wanted applause, just thought we were a family, a team. 2 winters ago, Gerald's roof collapsed during a storm. Talia cried on the phone, worried. I sent contractors the next day. Paid the invoice before the first shingle touched the house. Then there was Talia's store, her dream since college. I watched her sketch designs on napkins while I sat in meetings. Used my bonus, meant for our savings, to build her inventory. I coded the website myself, paid the domain fees, covered her first 6 months of rent, and every time I watched her, packing orders between my investor calls, I said to myself, "This is worth it. This is love. You support the team, even when no one sees it." But every dinner started feeling like an evaluation. Especially that night at their massive oak table, Monica had just come back from her Aspen law retreat. Gerald was sipping scotch, cufflinks catching candlelight. Talia, beautiful as always, the kind of poised, polished perfection that only shows up around people she thinks matter. I can't even remember what started it. Maybe I suggested we use a different budget for the estate remodel. Maybe I declined another loan. But suddenly, Gerald slammed his fist, looked me dead in the eye. "All you do is take," he said. "You've never given this family anything." I stared at Talia, her lips pressed tight. She didn't speak. The scotch burned my throat, but not as much as those words. And then she nodded, just once. A quiet, crushing verdict. "If you had any pride," Gerald said, "you'd leave." I waited for someone, anyone, to say, "That's not fair." Waited for Talia to reach for my hand under the table. But nothing. It felt like I was watching my own life from outside my body, like walking into a play halfway through and forgetting your lines. So I did the only thing I could. I got up, no yelling, no door slamming, no final speech. I walked upstairs, packed a single bag, left my plate half full, wine unfinished, pushed my chair back, gently, out of respect. A small bag, only essentials, no mementos. I walked back into that room full of people. No one followed. No one called out, not even her, because you only say goodbye to people who actually care. When the door clicked shut behind me, I realized I had never belonged there in the first place. I didn't storm out of that marriage. I just quietly left. No final lines. No cathartic declaration of how much I gave. Because any performance would have just made me look like the unstable outsider they always thought I was. Instead, I embraced silence, the kind that comes after years of not being heard. That night, I drove to a roadside hotel on the edge of town, carried my duffel up squeaky steps, laid down on a bleach-scented bed, and stared at the ceiling until morning. The next day, I sent 5 emails, one to my accountant. Stop all recurring payments to the Byrne household. immediately. One to my attorney, Victor. Review all shared financial responsibilities. Terminate them. Then to the leasing company, I had co-signed Gerald's Lexus. Time to end that little courtesy. Next, to Monica's university, I would no longer cover tuition. Canceled my payment plan, removed my name, and finally, an internal memo to my team. I'm relocating to Seattle, working remotely. All communications remain unchanged. No big speech, no farewell post, just absence. I didn't block anyone. I just vanished, and for a while I thought maybe someone would notice. Maybe Monica would call. Maybe Gerald. Maybe Talia. Instead, silence. It's funny how quiet the phone gets when the money stops. No one calls to check on you. No one asks if you're okay. But in that silence, I finally breathed. I found a small loft in Seattle. Hardwood floors. A window that just barely showed the bay. Nothing fancy. But it was mine. I brought my own kettle. It whistles too loud, but it's the sound of peace. And for the first time in years, I wasn't living for someone else's expectations. Then, 2 months later, my phone rang. It was Monica. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice was trembling. "Julian, I noticed my tuition didn't go through. Are you okay?" Then Talia called, but hers wasn't soft. It was sharp, panicked, accusing. "I just got an eviction notice. Why didn't you pay the mortgage? Are you trying to embarrass me?" No concern, just blame. As always. I stared at my phone for 10 minutes, then sent one text. I never gave this family anything. No punctuation, no warmth, no reply. And I imagined Monica panicking to her advisor, Talia spinning her narrative, Gerald watching his Lexus get towed. The empire they built was held together by my quiet, invisible labor, and when I stepped away, it all collapsed. They claimed I never gave enough, but I gave everything, just not in the way they wanted, and when I stopped, they broke, while I finally began. I heard from common business acquaintances that there was someone who could get in touch with me. Some were courteous, while others were attempting to persuade me. I ignored them all. Whether I went into a meeting, took a call, or anything else, I tuned them out. And Talia? She started acting desperate, emailing me from various addresses. Each day, the subject lines became more bizarre. Subject, communicate with me. Subject, you're destroying everything. Subject, I didn't answer because this is who you really are, but I didn't respond. Because silence was the most truthful reaction I could make. It wasn't unkind, it was real. Then Monica's professors sent me an email, one communication through the company.